Dude.
And the boys are back. The boys are back. The boys are back. The boys are back. And I got Mitch Griffis, as always, here with me today. And today I get to make him blush a little bit because it's his day under the spotlight, episode 2. And Mitch, why are we here today, dude?
I guess we're here to talk about myself, which is something I hate doing, but here we go.
He's not very good at it, but it should be comic relief, if nothing else. You guys will get to watch him fumble through his whole story and and try to bring it together. But I think, as we do this, I think, to start this thing, the best thing is for me to kind of hit a quick synopsis on your career and introduce you and just where you're at a little bit, and then kind of open up the floor to you, and then rock and roll from there. But really, guys, like, as we get introducing into Mitch and start talking about that, like, for me, it's just, this is one of my best friends, one of my brothers, and I've now known him for a little bit over a year and a half. And just the relationship from day one is something where you have these relationships in your life where you feel like you've had a friend for 3 years, and like you guys are in a place and then you meet somebody, and within 3 conversations, like, your relationship's already at a depth that goes beyond that friend that you've had for 3 years. And like, I think that's the explanation with my relationship with Mitch, and just the ways that we see life, the ways that we see football, the ways that we compete, the ways that we treat people, I think are very similar. And so now that I've said that we're similar, let me gas him up, right? So that I can gas myself up too. So Mitch is, really, really, really successful high school football career. Got to play for his dad. Lost less than 5 games in his entire career, won over 40. Just a really, really successful high school football player, and his recruiting reflected that. So he had a lot of schools that came after him through the recruiting process. And, Mitch, like me, is somebody who's like, once he feels comfortable or knows that this is a place that he wants to be, like, he doesn't need to wait around for more recruiting attention or any of that. And so when he was recruited by Wake, like, he felt culturally and just the school and all of the things that kind of aligned with his value system and all of that. So he takes the jump. He goes to Wake Forest. He shows up at Wake Forest, and there's this guy, Sam Hartman, right there in the class ahead of him. And, we talk all the time about this position being the position where only one guy plays. And obviously, like, as a competitor, it's super difficult to sit behind a guy who's playing really well. But something I've always really looked up to Mitch for, at least the way he's broken it down, maybe I need to get some inside information from other people in the program, but is he supported Sam really well, and those two have a really good relationship, and supported him to such an extent as he competed and continued to get better that, it's rare that when a quarterback like Sam leaves to go to Notre Dame, that they name the next guy a captain going into the season and name him the starting quarterback, when he had only played 1 game, I believe, in the year before, and played really well. But it's just rare. So it speaks, volumes about Mitch and who he is. And we'll get into it. So I don't want to steal a lot of his thunder in terms of, the story of him finally taking the field in college as a redshirt junior and captain, and kind of tasting 9 lives, dude. Like, going through absolutely every single scenario that you could possibly imagine. And in all of that, kind of really forced him through adversity, like many of us go through, like to face himself in some ways, and really ask himself, could I have done anything different? What was going on here? What is all at work? And, that's where our conversations just were awesome for me, to be there for him as he went through it. And, he'll tell you guys the whole thing, but I think where the story gets really wild is after the year's over, and he'll shed light into the decision to leave and hit the portal. But then he makes a decision to go to Marshall. And when he makes the decision to go to Marshall, he gets over there and feels the environment, kind of gets immersed in it, and kind of realizes, like, this isn't where I need to be right now. And, so you're talking to a starting quarterback in college football, an amazing man, and yet he leaves a starting quarterback job in Division I college football to, as he'll tell you, work a job and kind of just take a deep breath and be with his family and be with his dog and hang out with me and do podcasts with me. So Mitch, I think the place to start, dude, is obviously, if I missed anything in your story that needs to be touched before you get to Wake Forest, like, please do. But maybe just talk a little bit about like being the backup behind Sam and what that was like, and then your transition into being the starting quarterback.
Yeah. Thanks for that intro. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I came into Wake. I left high school early. I early enrolled in the spring of 2020. Actually, right before COVID hit. I was there for about 2 months, and then everything shut down. Went home, came back for the season, and I was fortunate enough to back up Sam for 3 years. And I say fortunate uh, because you always think you're ready to play. And after going through what I went through this year, you're never ready, but you're as ready as you can be. And man, I learned so much in those 3 years behind Sam. Um, I learned so much of how to lead a team, how to prepare, how to be the toughest player on the team. I mean, that dude is one of the toughest guys I've ever met, physically and mentally. Um, a great friend, an awesome captain. Did so much for Wake and our entire program, and it was so awesome that I got to take a back seat and learn for 3 years and mature and grow and kind of just see how college football works. And it was hard for sure. I'm a competitor, and football has been the biggest thing in my life since I was a kid. So going from starting as a freshman in high school and starting almost 50 games and having a lot of success, I wasn't used to not playing and not contributing, and that's a tough feeling as an athlete, as a competitor. You want to be out there helping your team. Um, and you don't want to be selfish. And I did not deserve to play over Sam in any way, but it was hard, waiting 3 years. And you win a big game and, you didn't feel like you contributed at all. And it was hard to sit back there. You lost and you're like, well, I can't even help my team lose. And there are hard feelings to have for sure. But again, as a freshman, I thought I was ready. And then you back up and you're like, oh, dude, I'm not ready at all. And then as a redshirt freshman, same thing. Redshirt sophomore, same thing. And then you get there finally as a redshirt junior, and like, okay, I'm ready to go. And like I said before, you always think you're ready, and then you just learn so much as the process goes on. That's what's so great about sports. But it was an awesome ride those first 3 years, just waiting my turn patiently and competing and just learning from Sam. And then fortunately, after Sam left, I was named the starter, and I was named a captain in the spring before I really had even started that many games. And that was such a cool accomplishment for me. It was always one of my goals was to be named a captain. Such an honor that all the guys on my team and the coaches and everybody in our program chose me to be one of the leaders of the team. And I didn't take that lightly. I took that as my most important role over even playing quarterback. I thought being a leader and being a good teammate was always the most important thing. So that was super cool. And then, we fast forward into the season and.
Well, Mitch, real quick before we go into the season too, I think that there's a really awesome opportunity to like learn that, when I got to Vandy, like I had to sit out and then I was the backup my second year and then I was the captain and starting quarterback. Well, there was the mentality that I had to approach those 2 years of not playing with that ultimately made me a captain and the starting quarterback. Like for me, mine was to treat everything obviously like I was the starter, but also honestly to take my anger out every day on the fucking scout team and on practice. Like it was to compete at an obsessively high level because I was so pissed off that I wasn't on the field and kind of was channeling that. And obviously like through osmosis, people are aware of that. So they like see and earn a lot of respect for that. What would you say like your thing was in those years, your approach, how you did it that made it so that they give you the team and make you a captain, after only playing one game prior to that?
Yeah. I mean, I treated as soon as I got there, I acted like the starting quarterback, and I expected to be the starting quarterback, and my goal was to be the starting quarterback whenever that came. So everything I did it as the starting quarterback. Even though I wasn't the starter, I acted as the starter. I tried to outwork Sam. I would see Sam do something, I would try to do it better. I was competing with Sam. The coaches, there was no quarterback battle.
Right.
But if Sam made a throw, I try to make it even better. If Sam made a good play, I try to make a better play. And that's just how you get better. And that's the standard that I held myself to because Sam was a phenomenal player and won a ton of games at Wake. And I wanted to do that. So internally, every single day, I was competing with Sam.
Right.
And what a guy to compete with. I mean, he pushed me without even him knowing it. He pushed me to be a better player, a better leader, a better teammate. And to me, to him, I was just his backup, and I tried to be the best backup I could, supportive. If he asked anything, needed anything of me, I was going to do it and help him out. But in my mind, that was my competition, and that's what made it so special. And I think that's what earned the respect of my teammates was they saw a kid who wasn't going to play any snaps on Saturday, but I was in the indoor at 9 p.m. doing a walkthrough of the reps I didn't get in practice.
Yeah.
I'm in the film room meeting with receivers who ever had a question. Sam would meet with the guys, and I'd be in those meetings. And if anybody had a question and they asked me, I could answer it just like Sam could. I took pride in that. If somebody asked me a question, I didn't want them to be any fall off between me or Sam. I wanted them to trust me as much as they trusted Sam. And that also gained the respect of my teammates, and especially in the receiver room, that they knew if they had a question about the playbook, if they had a question about the game plan, they could ask Sam. But if Sam wasn't available, which he pretty much always was, but they could come to me. And that made me feel good because that was my job at that point, was to prepare for the future and to help in any way that I could. And I treated every single day like I was a starting quarterback, and I treated every single day like it was a game day.
Beautiful. Now, how about the part like where I think you're a better man than me is like I told you, like I would have gone insane. 3 years of not playing, like that's something that I never had to go through during my career. I've had a lot of people ask me like, dude, you started as a true freshman in college football. Like, how'd you do that? And I was like, because I was literally worried about how I would be if I wasn't playing. You know what I mean? So you had to do it for an extended period of time. And I think that's something that a lot of guys really, really struggle with, especially younger guys in this generation now, like is patience. So you just gave your approach. You just gave all of that. And like, it's beautiful. And like, I would expect nothing less from you. Now for these guys, like, how are you able to ride that mental wave of like, every day showing up at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, film, rehab, all these things, preparing to be the starter, and yet you never get to step out there under the lights and actually do it. Like, how are you able to manage that so well to the point where you had such respect that like you're my starter and captain, like by the time it's done?
Yeah. My dad. My dad got me through it all. And if I sat here and told you I didn't call him once a week and say I'm fucking transferring, I'd be lying. I called him once every 2 weeks. Like, dude, I'm out of here, bro. Like, I'm done waiting. This sucks. I want to play. I don't care where it is. I'm tired of this bullshit of just waiting around. And, I mean, he talked me off a ledge week after week after week. And it had nothing to do, it wasn't because I didn't love Wake and I didn't want to be there. I just wanted to play. So without my dad, who knows what I would have done. But he walked me off a ledge week after week, and I'm thankful for him. And I'm so fortunate that I had my dad, who was my head coach. He kind of understood the business of college football and understanding the business of recruiting. And I had an insight of what it was going to be like before I really had to do it. So my expectations and kind of what I thought about college football was pretty accurate because he had seen it and experienced it through his former players. So just being, I'd be like, Dad, like this sucks, dude. I'm going to transfer. He'd be like, where are you going to go? And I'm like, I was like, I don't know. He goes, you want to go play at yada, yada, yada? I'd be like, hell no. He'd be like, exactly. So just conversations like that. And he really helped me. He just really helped me kind of have a better mindset about it. And not that, it wasn't easy. It was hard. I mean, like I said, I called him almost every 2-3 weeks, just like pissed and frustrated. And
dude, I was calling my dad every single day through my entire freshman fall camp. He flew out to talk to the head coach. He wasn't pissed at the head coach. He just wanted to get an idea of like how I was doing and where things were at.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I'm about out of here. And the head coach told him like, James, he's going to be our starting quarterback like by the 3rd week of the season. So if that gives you, anybody listening, like an idea of how, like in my head, I'm having all those thoughts. And yet like the reality is I'm closer than I've ever been to being the starting quarterback in Division I college football. So it's kind of insane. But then when you look at that, like that's beautiful. And you had your dad and I had my dad, and not everybody has those guys, like especially that are familiar with that situation. So what would you give as advice to guys that are going through the game of patience in 2024?
Yeah. And this is even, I was going through this in 2020 and 2021 and 22, and it's changed even since then. And I know there's not everybody has a support system like I did, but going back to my support system, my dad always told me the grass is greener where you water it. And I'm a firm believer in that because in today's day and age, you can romanticize so many other situations. Like, man, if I had this or if I had that or if only I went here. Oh, look at that guy. He's got this. We don't know the full extent of what people are going through. And we don't know the full extent of what they have. So it's very easy to sit here and romanticize every other situation but ours. So I think just taking the mindset of the grass is green where you water it. And if you want to be successful and you want to be great, you can do it exactly where you are. And it's a choice. And yeah, you're going to have to be patient sometimes. But college football is nuts nowadays. Kids can leave. People get hurt. I had an opportunity to play when Sam got hurt, and I was prepared because I always had that mindset that there's going to be a time where I'm going to need to go out there and do a job, and I want to do it to the best I can. And it's hard to be patient. There's no doubt about it. But if you have the mindset of the grass is green where you water it, that is what got me through a lot of days. Because I knew the light was at the end of the tunnel. And I think that was just something that really stuck with me. And
Hell
again,
yeah.
I'm lucky to have my dad.
So, and all party had that thing. I agree completely with, like, in today's changing everyday world of college football, like, people will not turn down great players.
Yeah, no.
They won't. Like, they want to win. They want to win. So you'll deal with politics and you'll deal with bullshit and you'll deal with stuff that happens. But at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, like, they're not going to deny greatness.
No.
So you look at a Josh Allen that went to junior college. You look at an Aaron Rodgers that went to junior college. Like, you look at Joe Burrow, who had to sit at Ohio State and then got to LSU and had a bad year at LSU before he became quite literally potentially the best college football season in the history of playing quarterback in college football. Yeah. And, again, just to kind of party hat what Mitch was saying is, like, my advice to all my college guys and my high school guys is, yeah, the grass is greener where you water it, but also, like, your entire staff around you is evaluating you every single day.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you perform really well and you grow. Let's say you are getting screwed. You don't think that the coaches around the table know that you're getting screwed?
Yeah.
So then they leave the next year and go somewhere else and they go, dude, there is that badass quarterback over there sitting at Georgia Tech who's a backup that should have been the starter. Like, let's go get him.
Yeah.
And so it's also just a different way to think about what he just said about the grass being greener where you water it. Is like, you become that great player you're capable of being, dude, and you will not be denied. And I know that's so hard when you're dealing with political bullshit and all of these things that happen. But, anyway, that's just kind of party hats that whole situation. But that brings us to Mitch's redshirt junior year. And you're fired up, dude. I mean, we had been working together all off season and talking about it, and just there was a lot of excitement there. There was a lot of just a really, really cool time in your life to finally feel like, I'm stepping back into the light, and this light is an opportunity for me to lead my team in this community that I love and care about, and also show the world, like, all this hard work that I've done. And, I think, just big picture, looking at your season is like, the big thing with quarterback is there's so many other things that affect this position. I tell guys all the time, like, when they pout and cry about stuff with me, like, as you well know, is like, dude, if you really are going to have this much of a problem with the politics or the situation around you or my O-line or these things, it's like, then go swim. Or go play golf, or go play tennis singles. And, at that point, like, you do control it, dude. Like, go run a 100-meter dash, dude. Like, the time on the clock is going to determine what happens. Like, at quarterback, come on now. Like, culture of the program, our coaching situation, the offense we're running, does that fit our personnel? Is our offensive line really good? How are our receivers? What's our schedule look like? Are we coming off a season where we graduated a lot of guys? Are we not? So there's just so many factors that play into it. And I think that Wake Forest kind of hit a perfect storm a little bit, like, as you took the field. So anyway, everybody just understand that like, that was what was hitting. And my guy's out here stepping up, and we're not deflecting any personal accountability, but he gets to step into that role and now kind of let us know, through your vantage point, starting quarterback at Wake Forest and captain that's waited his time, steps into it, and give us the deal, dude. How'd it go?
Yeah. Well, it was first thing I'll say is I wouldn't change a single thing. I wouldn't change a single thing about my journey and my path, and my journey's not over yet, and the path is just getting started. So it's all part of the process, and I wouldn't change a single thing. But yeah, I did kind of step into this situation where I do think a little bit of a perfect storm kind of hit. And again, not deflecting any blame, dude. We were 4-8. I was a part of 3 of those wins, and I was a part of 7 of those losses. I did not play the best football that I could have played, and there's no question about that. There's no question about that. I'm not here to deflect blame. I'm not here to. I'm here to take full accountability of how I played. That is. I'm not a person to kind of be naive to what really happened, and like I said, I did not play to the best of my abilities, and the hardest thing for me is it has nothing to do with physical capability. I'm not an arrogant person, but there's a lot of times where in my life I've just been blessed with a natural ability to throw a football and not to come off as arrogant or cocky, but I haven't been around a lot of people that I felt like can naturally throw the ball better than I could. And I still feel that way. There's the lack of success that I had was nothing physical. And unfortunately, quarterback is about 10% physical, and 90% everything else. And a lot of the things that I struggled with were just mental and the whole general scheme of mental, confidence and identity in myself and staying aligned and just kind of just everything that you go through as a quarterback. And we start off 3-0, and as from there we kind of hit a rough point. And as the season goes south, I kind of find myself becoming the fall guy, and it's tough. It makes me feel, isolated. It makes me feel like I am the only problem at times, and making me feel like I'm the reason why we start to lose a few games. And I kind of went through a little bit of a identity crisis in the middle of the year. That was hard for me, and few things had happened. I'm the captain of my football team, and I've always prided myself in being a vocal guy. I love talking with my teammates. I love being in full communication with the offense, the O-line, my receivers, my backs, protection, routes, depth, all of that stuff. I love that about football, and the strategy, the technique, meeting with my guys after practice and making sure we're on the same page. I've always prided myself of being a coach on the field. And, after we lose a few games, I get called into the head coach's office, and he just tells me, he's like, I need you to focus on being a quarterback and less on being a captain. I need you to focus less on being a leader and trying to rally the guys. And I get asked to not speak in front of the team before the game. And that was so hard for me because that's all I've ever known as a starting quarterback was being the vocal guy that I was. And, I sit here struggling over the next few days at practice. I'm not really focused on practice. I'm focused on how do I need to act. I'm focused on, obviously my coaches are watching me and how I act. And I feel like I've been kind of stripped of who I am. And I don't really know how to act. I'm quiet at football practice, and to me, that it's just a foreign concept. I didn't really understand that.
And let me fill in some context here too. So like in the first 3 games of the season, like you guys are Wake Forest, like you're at an ACC school, and like you guys have come off like a pretty good like 5-year run of good football.
Yeah. Yep.
And you go into these first 3 games, and like you guys just don't look and feel the same as you had in years past.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of desperation in there too, or a little bit of panic, probably overstating it, but it's just like, we're not winning the way we're supposed to win. Like we need to play at a much higher level than this.
Yep.
And I think, watching you guys last year, like you had a pretty damn good defense, but like
we did.
In general, there were just a lot of holes to where like you didn't play well together, maybe ever, like the whole season.
We did.
And when you look at that, like I think that's what creates, I use the word desperation, like it creates a little bit of this feeling at quarterback, like yo, not only do I have to play well, but like I have to play a little bit more than well, and
Yep.
I have to do more than just what I have to do, right? And that's like when we talk Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, it's like, guys, don't get it twisted. Tom Brady's the absolute man. Like the guy's got
Yep.
7 rings for a reason. But it's like they were so disciplined with how they spent money in that organization that guy always had weapons,
Yep.
always had a great defense. And yeah, his weapons were short little white guys in the slot, but
Yeah.
like big picture, like his defense played damn good ball. They were well coached. They played well together. And so I look at Tom Brady and he says this, you know, in Man in the Arena, but it's like he was always able to just do his job
Yeah.
at the best ability that he could do his job.
Yeah.
And it was always enough.
Yeah.
And I felt like talking to you too, that there was just a little bit underneath all of that that was like, I think I have to do a little bit more than just my job. And
Yeah.
so that created a little bit of, you know, you weren't well protected in those first 3 games. I'll say it, like you don't have to say it. And you're getting hit quite a bit. And as you're getting hit quite a bit, it's just talk about like the psyche there of like just that, like how you feel in some ways like I got to kind of do more a little
Yeah.
bit than I usually would have to.
Yeah. And it's a double-edged sword. At times I really embraced the challenge because I wanted to be the reason why we won games. You know, I wanted to be the guy that was able to do more than just his job and you know, be a key player for the team and help us win. So I enjoyed that challenge. But yeah, there were also times where from the outside and from kind of some, I guess, you know, there were times in meeting rooms or just individual meetings where I felt like some of the expectations were a little unachievable. You know, some of the things I was asked to do were really tough, and you know, watching plays on film and kind of being told do this or that, the other, and I'm just like, dude, I'm not even thinking about that. That's just, I mean, this,
Just give us an example real quick of that.
you know, oh man, you just an example of being like, you know, with the slow mesh, right? We're walking it up. You know, we're walking it up to the line of scrimmage, and you know, let's say a 5 technique from my backside comes free, and I don't see him because I'm at the line of scrimmage, and I take a sack. It's to the point where like, hey man, you got to hand that off. Well, dude, I can't even see him, and that was something that was kind of common in the sense where it was very. I felt like I had to be an unrealistic hero at times, and just the expectations. And I'm not saying, you know, expectations should be high. I am the I held myself to
But
the
this
highest
happens quite a
expectation.
bit, and I was on this side as a
Yeah,
coach. It's like that
yeah,
the offense isn't performing to the ability that the offense needs to perform to. So now, like, and James Franklin is like this as well. It's like now they tighten the leash
yeah,
on the guy who touches the ball every play
yeah,
because
exactly.
we assume that if Mitch Griffis were playing at an all-pro Patrick Mahomes level, then all of our problems would be erased.
Yeah,
And is that kind of like what you felt?
100%, 100%. I really did feel that way, and you know, kind of something that was tough for me was I'm always very tough on myself, and we always got grades, you know, after the games, and every time I graded myself on the film, I would if it was ever a question, I gave myself a minus. I always gave myself a minus. I made it the lowest grade I possibly could.
Yeah.
And I would go into meetings and my grade would be 10, 20% lower. And I'd be like, I mean, where did these extra minuses come from? And, you know, just watching the film, I'd kind of see where I would get these extra minuses and whatnot. And it just seemed, it was just some things that it just seemed so unrealistic. And yeah, I felt like I had to play at a superhero level all the time because of the desperation we had and the, like you said, the leash that was kind of put around me in the sense that, you know, if I was playing to this level, we would be instead of, you know, 4-3, we're 7-0.
Right.
Yeah, I really struggle with that. And like I said, becoming the fall guy really was tough. And then it not only did it happen identity wise, but it happened on the field, getting coached. In the sense that, you know, we're in the season and we're still struggling, and you know, we've had some turnovers and I've gotten strip sacked a few times, and some of them are really unavoidable. And you know, I'm in the throwing position, And here's an example. I'm getting a minus for getting strip sacked while, the ball is right here. I've never seen a quarterback hang on to a ball when they're getting ready to throw it. I'd love to meet a guy who can do that. So just things like that where I felt like that's an unrealistic expectation of me. There's no possible way I can solve that problem in that specific, scenario. And, we get into a practice the next week after I've been strip sacked once or twice or whatever. And, my head coach says, stops practice after a rep and just chews me out in front of everybody and says, you pat the ball on every single throw, and this is why you get strip sacked. And he just rides me. And I'm like, okay, yes, sir. I'm one to take coaching. I played for my dad, so if I get coached, I'm doing it. I'm doing it 100%. The rest of practice, all I'm focused on is not patting the ball. Practice ends, and this 2 more times he chews me out in front of the entire team. 2 more times. And I'm like, I swear I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't feel myself doing it. I get a text after practice from my OC. Hey, just watched every single practice rep from the last month. Not once have you patted the ball. So I'm not even at practice focused on practice. I'm focused on trying not to pat the ball. And with the identity, situation where I felt like I couldn't be myself and getting to a point where I felt like I wasn't trying to win. I was just trying not to screw things up. It became a point where I couldn't function and function the way that I knew I could and play the level that I knew I could. The confidence wasn't there. The belief wasn't there.
Well, you're in this warped zone where you feel like you can do no right, and that you also would have to do more than you're even capable of to appease like the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
And so now you have like a coaching situation and you as the quarterback where like there's not synergy here. And there's no defiance, like, but there's no synergy. There's no synergy. And when you don't have synergy like that, like then ultimately like shit is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
It's about when. So when was the moment? All these things are the little things that are going on. And like we were discussing them week to week, and I was just bringing you back to you and bringing you back to you and all of that. When was the moment for you where shit hit the fan?
Yeah. So just icing on the cake, we're going in to play Virginia Tech. I'm a Virginia kid. I grew up a diehard Virginia Tech football fan. And I want this game bad. I want this game so bad. And it's tough for me because I'm going into this game with my head just spinning. I'm all over the place. There's no confidence. And like I said, just I'm warped, man. I'm anywhere but where I need to be to go win this game. But I'm a soldier. I'm a warrior. I'm going to go out there and do my best and compete my ass off and try to win this game. But it's a huge game for me. It's a huge deal. Austyn comes to the game. 200 of my high school classmates go to Virginia Tech. They're at the game. They didn't recruit me. I was too short coming out of high school. And there's vengeance in my heart. There's hate in my heart. I want this game more than anything in the world. And 10 plays in, I get pulled. And my biggest fear comes true. I embarrassed myself at Virginia Tech. And it was so crazy because the whole offseason, all I thought about was I want to play well at this game. I want to play well at this game. I go on a trip in the middle of...
We visualized that game together before the season. Like, we visualized the stadium. We visualized the bus ride up. We visualized all of it together. Like, that was
everything.
The moment. Yeah.
Bro, every night before I go to bed, I'm playing Enter Sandman behind my head and meditating. I'm getting ready for it because I want to practice what I'm going to do when the song comes on and how I'm going to feel. In July, I take a trip with my dad to Lane Stadium, and I walk the field. I sit down, I meditate, I think about it, what I'm going to do to win this game. It means that much to me. And through all the bullshit, I get to that game. On a 3rd and 10, I hit my receiver in the face. He drops it, and I get pulled the next play. After 10 plays, because we need a spark on offense. And if I told you that wasn't the most relieved I've ever felt in my life, I'd be lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest fear comes true in the sense of relief, in the sense of just being able to take a deep breath and not having to deal with that bullshit for a few hours was one of the calmest feelings I've had in my life, which is so sad because I wanted that game so bad. But when I got pulled, I was able to take a deep breath. And for the first time in 3 months, I just relaxed. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I wasn't hurt. And it's not like it didn't suck. It was hard, man. It sucked. And
Well, I found myself just getting emotional right there because like
yeah.
not only is like that so sad, but I walk down the bleachers and I look at him and he just goes, I'm out, bro. I'm out. And I remember like walking up the stands and just having to see your dad, you know? And it was so beautiful, just the relationship that you have with your dad, because it's like your dad didn't even give a shit that you got pulled, bro. Your dad literally was just like, you could feel it so genuinely, just how worried he was about how you were doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, God at work here is like, about 10 minutes later, I'm down in the end zone, behind the end zone. Like, I'm so pissed off that I'm literally now cheering with the Virginia Tech fans, bro. And like 6 people away from me is Mitch's sister in a fucking Virginia Tech jersey, dude.
Yeah, my sister went to Tech. She not even rooting for the Deeks that day, dude. It was a day from hell.
And she comes up to me, and I remember I never met her. And she looks at me and she goes, Austyn, and she just wraps her arms around me, and she's literally like crying on my shoulder. And like, this is the first time I've ever met Mitch's sister.
That's my sister. But no better person, no better stranger to cry on than Austyn Carta-Samuels. I mean, no better stranger.
But just, I think that some of these things is always like, again, it's just what we do is like when we hear that you get benched, and then when we hear that you're relieved, it's like, what the hell? And then it's like, I can humanize that moment even more, where it's like, dude, as a coach, like, think about me, bro. It's like, I'm literally here to support my guy who I love as much as life itself, and I have to watch that go down. I know what that feels like too.
Yeah.
And now I'm with his family experiencing all of that. Then I'm at the bus with you after the game, dude, and like feeling that. And it's just, again, like the weight of these things is the reality of quarterback. It's the reality of quarterback. And so Mitch, like as we get through that, it's like, now, there were some things that I'll just say it, I really didn't like that were said in the press, like just because I'm never the one to put any blame on my teammates or my coaches or anything like that. And so like when blame gets pushed in a direction like by a coach, that's a really, really tough thing to be able to face and handle once again, especially after you've given your life to this program, for 3-4 years. So now you get into the role where you are no longer the starting quarterback. And you've dreamed of this being your team for multiple years. You brought that to reality, and then that reality crumbles. And yet, as a part of that reality crumbling is almost a deep breath for you of relief because of the weight of everything that was there. So now talk about just like, where's the mind go after that? Where does the mind go now? And where were you at?
Yeah, man, I was in a tough, I was in a low spot, man. Probably the lowest I've ever felt. But in all that lowness felt so much relief, man. And like going to practice, well, to give us some more context, so I get benched in that game, and the kid that plays for me gets hurt in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I got to go back in there. Embarrassed. Bro, tears in my helmet. I'm going out there to play. After I cried on the sidelines, bro, I'm crushed, man. Like, I'm just devastated. And, I go from the feeling of relief to devastation to relief to devastation. What my mind is all over the place. And, man, I go back in, I have to finish the game, dude. Like, just in the midst of all this, like, oh, hey, we're down 20. I need you to go throw a few Hail Marys, in the last 2 minutes. So, the kid's out for 3-4 weeks. I gotta go. Not much time goes by where I gotta go play again. So I'm dealing with all this, and I got to go start, 2 weeks later because the kid gets hurt. And, man, it was so hard, dude. It was such a weird feeling, and like some things were said in the press, and it was hard, man, because that sense of relief left, because I was right back in the fire, and I wanted to be back in the fire. I wanted to be back in that spot to redeem myself um, and prove that I can do this, and I am meant to be the starter, and this is my team. Um, but man, it was the lowest I felt in my life, and going through that, I felt like I let my team down, and um, looking at the guys' faces in the locker room after a loss, bro, just crushed my soul, just ripped the heart out of my chest, and man, when we won games, I didn't feel good about myself. It was just seeing my big fat O linemen dancing with their shirts off, and my receivers hugging, and just everybody being so ecstatic together, not and just watching people just smile and laugh and hug. That's why I love to win. And seeing those guys not be able to do that and feeling like it's my fault, bro, just crushed me. It was the hardest thing I had to go through, and feeling like I let my teammates down. I feel like I let my family down, my friends down, everybody back home. On game day, I mean, I'm so blessed, man. I'm getting 200-300 texts from just people from back home saying, man, I can't wait to watch you today. I love you. Good luck. Go tear it up today. And so many people tell me, like, they're at a restaurant. They're like, yo, I know that kid. Like, that I love that kid. That's my guy. And then them having to sit and watch a game and watch me throw an interception while they just claimed me, was just thinking about that, bro, just crushed me. And I dealt with that. And so many people at the Tech game I knew, and so many people vouching for me, wearing my jersey, wearing my name on their back and going to bat for me. And I got benched and having to go through that in the next few weeks. We went on like a 3-game losing streak. Man, I'm crushed. Just absolutely devastated, feeling like I let so many people down in my life that have given so much up for me, have been so selfless. My parents have just been so supportive of me, and anything I ever needed for this journey, they had it. My parents are teachers, and by no means are we poor, but we weren't rich. But anything I needed financially, football-wise, was done. They paid for it. The time they spent, supporting me, taking me to practices, training, extra stuff, whatever, they were there for me. And so badly I wanted to give them something to, be proud of. And I know I did. But internally, I couldn't believe that. And I know that me just being a captain and being out there made them more proud than they could ever imagine. But I couldn't internalize that with myself. I didn't believe that because I wasn't proud of myself. And that was just so hard to go through, just the feeling of letting so many people down just back home that I cared about so much. And, my friends getting chirped, like all my friends at Tech, like, oh, that's my boy. And they're like, well, yeah, your boy fucking sucks. and it just hurts. My sister's in the stands and she's getting chirped. And just those people, in a way, I represent those people when I step into that arena. I represent everybody that claims me and that I claim. And just to let them down and, them extending the pain that I felt extending onto them is what hurt me. Because people can say whatever the fuck they want to me. It doesn't bother me. Call me whatever name the fuck you want. Call me. I don't care. It never bothers me. But when it steps outside of me and it affects the people that I love, man, that tore me apart. And it was hard, man. And I had to play the next few games, and we didn't win any of those games. And eventually, the kid came healthy, and they started him again. And that was really it. That was really it for me at Wake. That was I had to watch the last 2 games. I think it was the Notre Dame game and the Syracuse game. I had to watch those 2 games as on the bench. I actually didn't travel to Notre Dame. I got injured the week before, but that's not why I didn't play. But yeah, I had to watch the last 2 games.
And so to finish this, because that concludes Wake for the most part. We could go on for hours about all the things.
Yeah, I mean,
in the
I
last
have
6 weeks of the season. But a couple things is like, I know that a young guy listening or people listening are like, dude, why the hell does he care so much about like all of these people that are outside and all of this? And I just quickly, like, speaking to that dynamic is like, guys, when you get up into college football, like it at this position especially is a 365, 24/7 job.
Yeah.
And that job is something that you're excited about, you're obsessed with, you're in love with. It in so many ways it is your life. I mean, a big part of the work that I do is just trying to split that identity as much as possible for you guys so that you know who you are on and off the field, and that those two people are separate. Because this idiot is sitting here right now thinking that his sister was disappointed or his dad was disappointed, and it's like he knows in his heart right now today that they were not disappointed. But at that time, I've given my whole life to this. I've put everything that I have into it. So these things matter so much, and there's so much levity and so much weight to all of it that, like, in the heat of it, you feel like a failure, dude. You feel like an absolute failure, and the weight of being a failure is, I mean, insane. And so having to watch what at the start of the season was your team and you a captain, to watching the end of it where there's no chance at bowl eligibility. You're not even on the field.
Yep.
And then that leads into after the season's over.
Yeah.
And right after the season's over, I'll let you be as honest or whatever as you want about how that played out. But how does Mitch Griffis make the decision to hit the portal?
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that I was not ready to move on from Wake Forest. As much as I love that place more than anything in the world, and I love my teammates more than anything in the world. But I knew for my football career, it was probably best that I moved on and made a decision to go somewhere else. And really, that decision wasn't made for me anyways. I showed up to my exit meeting, and basically was told via one of my coaches that my head coach was forcing me to transfer. Unfortunately, I didn't hear this from my head coach. He did not show up to my exit meeting. I had to hear it through the grapevines, which was hard. This kind of leads into why I decided to step away from football for take a break. And, that was hard because I had given so much to this program. And, everything. There was nothing more I could have done. And I'm not, again, did I play well enough to deserve to be the next starter for this upcoming season? No. I would have had to earn that and compete for it. That is completely a true statement. I had earned nothing. But what I did earn was just the courtesy and the respect to be told face to face. And I didn't get that. And that was hard. And so I had to enter the portal, and I had to make a fast decision. The portal happens so fast in December, and you want to get somewhere quickly and make a decision before spots fill up and whatnot. And I'm trying to find a place while still having to graduate from Wake Forest. I don't have my degree yet, so I have to find a place that's okay with me transferring, but not enrolling until the summer. And so thankful for Wake and Coach Clausen letting me finish my degree. He let me stay on scholarship for the spring semester and finish my degree. And again, that speaks volumes to the type of guy that he is, and he let me finish my degree, and I appreciate that. I'm forever thankful for that, and that I have a Wake degree. But I had to make a very fast decision, and in all this whole process, I go on like 10 visits in like 12 days. Me and my dad are hopping on plane after plane after plane. Dude, I'm not home. I'm not at Wake. I'm on a different location for the next 12 days. And it's exhausting. I haven't even had time to process what had just happened, the season that had just happened. What do I want in a new school? What am I looking for? Look, I had no time to process any of that, and I made a quick decision, and I kind of just trusted my gut and committed to Marshall. Committed to an OC that I really, really liked and really connected with and respected. And at the time, I felt like that was the best decision for me. And I kind of just assumed after the year that I was going to play football. I was just, of course I'm going to play. I just need to figure out where. As I committed before Christmas in a very short period of time, and I go home for Christmas, and I kind of just sit back and take a deep breath. And me and Austyn hop on the phone a bunch and kind of just debrief what happened over the season. And, at first, I was kind of able to get over it really quickly because I was so excited about a new opportunity to play somewhere else. And it was very easy to kind of put some perspective on it and rationalize why these things happen to me. And I'm a faithful guy, and I spent a lot of time in prayer and just wondering and asking why and trying to figure out a reason why this would have happened. And when I had this new opportunity, it kind of all made sense to me. But as time went on, I head back to school for that second semester. Now I'm walking around the same campus that I was just a starting quarterback as a kid who's in the portal, a kid who's not a part of a football team. For the first time in 17 years, I'm not a part of a team. And these real emotions of anger, frustration, embarrassment, failure, they just start flooding in. And I'm really struggling when I'm back in the second semester because I just feel I'm walking to class and everybody's pointing, oh, that's the kid that got benched. That's Mitch. Yeah, he left, right? He transferred. Why is he still here? And kids would ask me all the time, what are you still doing here? I thought you transferred. And I'm having to explain this whole process. And, bro, I'm embarrassed. I feel like a failure. I've created this external, perception of me. I go to the basketball games and I feel like everybody's looking at me, talking about me. I go to the baseball games. I feel like everybody's looking at me, talking about me. And, I go out to a bar with my buddies and I feel like everybody's like, why the hell are they hanging out with that kid? Why is he still here? And I'm in class, just feel like I'm getting stared at. And this probably never happened. And if it did, it probably happened 5 times. But you just create this narrative that people are talking about you. And again, I'm not one to care about what people say about me. I've always been a confident person. But at this point in my life, there was no confidence. There was no confidence because I didn't know who I was. I had just faced it.
What I think you're speaking to so much, Mitch, too, is that this is the first time that you've slowed down in 17 years.
Yeah, I was about to talk about that. Yeah.
And I'll let you talk about it. But guys, when you're in the thick of everything for such a sustained period of time, it's like I talked in my story about like the mask and just like realizing like that I put on a mask to play the position and to act and talk and walk a particular way. And it's like, dude, when you finally get into the slow, which I told you guys didn't even happen for me until I left college football as a coach. This guy got to experience it during his career.
Yeah.
And I think like all that I wanted to add into that is like, Mitch knew who he was, but he knew who he was as a part of the identity of being the Wake Forest starting quarterback. Now you're no longer the Wake Forest starting quarterback. You're not in the immediacy of shut up and go to the next workout and do the next thing. So you're sitting there. And now you're perceiving things that you've never been able to perceive before. You're feeling things that you haven't felt before. Your whole life is freaking vortexing on you, and you don't have the outlet to just go do it. And so that starts the journey back to yourself, which we've been talking now for 53 minutes. And I think the most important part of this entire thing by far is what you've done over the last few months from the start of what you're talking about. Because as a coach and as a brother and a friend, I cannot express how proud of you I am for what you have done over the last few months. And you've lost a lot, bro. You've lost a lot of shit over the last few months. And football is just one of multiple big pillars in your life that you've lost.
Yeah.
So I will let you share as much as you'd like to share about what you've lost and how that's all gone down and how you got here. But to be here now with such a deep calling and deep purpose to help young men, to have already started quarterback science that is helping kids across the country with arm care, to be a part of what we're doing now as a coach and be a part of this with me, and to take all this action while you have a job right now, while you may still go play ball, while you had to leave a school, and then some of the particular relationships in your life that have changed significantly. It's like, what you've done, bro, is very, very special. And I'm super proud of you. And so as you now talk about that and like the heat of all that feeling and sitting in the slow, I just want everybody that's listening to know that like everything he's explaining right now is leading to this very beautiful moment for him of
Yeah.
kind of letting it all go in a way. And so, like, yeah, dive in. You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the,
The
thanks
ball
for
on the
all that.
tee. Yeah, the ball on the tee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
go for it.
Thanks. Yeah. So, like I said, I really got to slow down at school. It was the first time in my life where I wasn't demanded. My time wasn't demanded of. I was in 9 credits, taking 3 easy classes to finish my degree, and I had no set time to lift, throw, or run. Dude, I was sleeping in every day till like 7:38, which in college football is sleeping in. And every morning I was getting to take my dog on a walk, make a big breakfast, work on a business that I started just to help kids with arm care. I'd go to class, go play golf, and then throw the football and lift at night. Dude, I was living the dream. It was retirement. I was still collecting my stipend checks. I was getting paid by my business. Dude, life was good. I was hanging out with my buddies. I'm going to middle of the week basketball games, which you never do when you're playing football because you got an early lift the next morning. I was living college for the first time in my life, and man, I was having a blast. And it really opened my eyes to how peaceful, after going through all of that and all the pain and the struggling and the hurt and the bullshit and just all the stuff that I went through, finally be able to step away and find so much joy and happiness. Man, it was a great feeling, and I kind of associated that feeling with not playing football. And it wasn't the football that I enjoyed not being a part of. It was just having the time to really slow down and enjoy the smaller things in life. And it was just so awesome to do that. And then, I get to Marshall, and I get to Marshall in the beginning of June. I graduate from Wake. And to go back during all this time, I still haven't really processed, everything that's gone on. I'm just enjoying this high of taking a break and this whole process. I'm thinking when I get to Marshall, I'll really be able to understand that. I'll really be able to find this love and this passion for football again. And man, as soon as I get to Marshall, that love and that passion, it drifted further and further away from me, and it scared the hell out of me, and I wasn't sure why. And it wasn't a feeling that I was used to. And ultimately, I made the decision my heart wasn't in it, and I was ready to step away from football. And I came home. And for the first time in 17 years, I'm not playing football. And the first month, I'm home. I'm hanging out with my buddies, hanging out with my high school friends that I missed so much time with. I'm hanging out with my parents, my siblings that I missed out on so much time with. And man, the first month is awesome. The first month is so awesome. I'm playing golf. I'm going out with my buddies, just having a great time. And I start work. I start a great job. And man, about, a month ago, I come home from work and I'm just struggling. I'm at this point in my life where there's just this void. And I'm still going through it. This thing is not over, but it's a place where I feel like I have no purpose, and I feel like I have no dream, and I've never lived my life without a dream, or a purpose, or needing, or an opportunity to serve, an opportunity to compete, and it's just eating at me, feeling like every day's the same. I'm just living this life, this imposter syndrome where I don't know who I am, but I'm putting on this face that I'm okay and I'm enjoying not doing what I love to do. And dude, I'm in a dark spot, man. I'm in a dark spot, and I'm kind of isolated, and my buddies are around me and my parents are around me, but I don't really know how to vocalize it. I don't really know how to put it into words.
Well,
And
not to mention that besides me and, maybe your brother and your dad, like,
yeah.
no one knows what the hell you're doing this for. Like, this
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense
Yeah,
on
yeah.
paper.
I'm a
Like,
starting quarterback at a great group of 5 Sun Belt
can't
football
even
team.
imagine what these Marshall fans and coaches and stuff think
Yeah,
about. And like the reason I'm so proud of you for making the decision is like
yeah,
you're true to you.
Yeah.
despite knowing that everyone was going to feel that way, which
Yeah.
takes a hell of a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about being in a dark place and you talk about struggling and the things that you felt over the last couple months, it's like, I think that a lot of people look at it and go, well, yeah, you idiot. Like, of course you're going to.
Yeah.
You fucking left being a starting quarterback. Like,
100%.
what'd you expect? And it's like,
Yeah.
you and I both know there was more at risk had you stayed in that
Yeah.
situation. And
Yeah.
so whatever he's feeling and the weight of what he's feeling and all of these things, guys, and the fact that it doesn't make any sense, like, understand that for him at that time, that was the lesser of two evils here.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I believe, like, that's why I'm so proud of you. And then on top of that, like, I'm not going to let this idiot sell himself short. He's selling arm care programs and helping kids all over the country. He's chopping it up with me and like making a huge impact on our community. Like, he's back with these friends and all these people who love and care about him. I mean, as a part of Locked In QB, I think we now have 6 or 7 quarterbacks that have come to us straight out of friggin' Virginia because of this guy. And that's how much people look up to him and care about him. So it's like, that's part of the weight that I also recognize in Mitch, like, and that we are brothers on, where it's just like, there is a little bit of self-deprecation in terms of the way that we look at ourselves, because like, he's making it sound so bad. And while that is how he feels, I'm telling you right now, that's not the reality of the impact that he's making on others and what he's doing. But that said, I'm not minimizing anything that you're feeling too. So, as you look at all of this, Mitch, and as you look at, what's the big things that you've learned? Like, just big picture, whole freaking thing. Like, what are the big things that you've learned that you wish if you could plant the microchip inside of every freaking quarterback that is 13 years old that chooses that this is what they want to do? What are the big couple nuggets for you that ultimately, as you think about that, it's like, guys, like, this guy's purpose is deeply intertwined with my purpose. Like,
Yeah.
our purpose is to, again, humanize all levels of sports
Yeah.
and just talk about the way that we actually feel and what guys actually go through, as opposed to thinking that the recruiting game is the stars game and that the college football game is the NIL money game and touchdowns and all. Guys, I don't even fucking remember the touchdowns. I remember helping kids, and I remember helping communities, and I remember my locker room. Like, that's what I remember. So sorry about it. That's what you're going to remember, not throwing touchdowns, like. So for you, Mitch, looking back at all of this, because you've brought us all into your story to such a deep level, like, what would you say, like, for all these guys out there listening, just about the journey itself and things that you suggest doing or feeling?
Yeah, that's a good question. And just to backtrack, yeah, a lot of people are probably like, well, you dumbass, you put yourself in this position by not playing football. And yeah, like Austyn said, it was a lesser of two evils at the time. I was at a point where I just knew in my heart and trusting my gut that I needed to take a break this fall from football. I needed it. And I'm so glad I did it. I've learned so much about myself in these last 2-3 months of just solidarity, being alone. And, my best friend in the entire world sent me a video. And it's about some guy talking about an eagle and the first 40 years of an eagle's life.
Brian Ortega talking about it, dude.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker, man.
Badass, dude.
Bad motherfucker. This eagle's a bad dude, man. He's a badass. His claws are sharp. His wings are full. His beak is ready to roll. And once he's 40 years old, he loses all of that. His whole life, he's been hunting, just killing things. Whatever he wants to eat, he's taking it. Getting in fights, he's winning them. And then when he's 40 years old, he loses his beak. He loses those talons that are so sharp. His wings kind of start to weather down. And in the video, the guy, he's explaining, he talks about the eagle has 2 decisions. He can either die or he can adapt. So the eagle goes to the top of this mountain. And for 2-3 months, he's mashing his beak against a rock so that it breaks off. All that pain so it breaks off so it can grow back.
Plucking all his feathers out.
Plucking all of his feathers. Going through all this pain, all this hurt so that the feathers grow back. scratching his talons till they're dull, so they grow back and now they're sharp. So the next 30 years of his life, he's reborn, and he's that same badass motherfucker that he is. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm that eagle by myself, sitting at home in fucking Round Hill, Virginia, working a construction job, and I'm just plucking my feathers, man. I'm just plucking my feathers, and it's been hard, and it hurts, but it's part of the process, and I wouldn't change my journey. But to answer your question, something that I would tell a 13-year-old going through this, man, the most important thing, and I wish I could go back, and I don't have any regrets, but I wish I could go back and tell myself, man, there's going to be so much ups and downs and just the bullshit and let me just put this out there. We're talking about the hard of my journey. If we sat here and talked about the highs, bro, this podcast would go on infinitely. I mean, the amount of highs that I've had playing college football, I could talk for years on end, man. And I will. That's what life's all about. And we're just talking about the hard part. And we'll get to the good, I promise you. This is not a depressing podcast. This is a bringing light to the world podcast. But if I could tell anybody, a 13-year-old kid, what I've been through, and just one thing is, man, just the best you can, trust who you are. Just trust who you are. Stick to your guns. Stay true to yourself. Trust your gut. Trust your instinct. I tried so hard to be this person, to please my coaches, to please my teammates, to end up being the starter. But, man, what got me to Wake and what got me to a Division I scholarship and to being the starting quarterback was just a guy who worked his ass off, who loved football, who loved his teammates. And 18-year-old version of me would have been way more successful than the 22-year-old version of me in college football. And at 22, I was a better thrower. I was smarter. I was stronger, more athletic, faster. But 18-year-old me would have had way more success because that kid was just an ignorant dude who was true to himself every single day. And in no way was I fake. In no way was I not confident in myself and who I was as a person and not trying to be me. But in this role you have, we've talked about this a million times, there's a lot of outside, external circumstances that kind of shape you into who you're supposed to be. And, man, just stay true to yourself. Just be you. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Trust your instincts.
And
don't let all these experiences.
And come have a conversation with me. How about we do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Come sit down.
In ACS, we trust. Yeah. But man, just be you. Be you.
Yeah. To that exactly. I think it's about who you become, not what you become. And
yeah,
I think that everything that Mitch said, but again, I think what's so beautiful is just Mitch, to put in perspective the vulnerability of your entire journey and to sit here and talk like that, whether it's me in the first episode or whether it's Mitch in the second, I think the thing that needed to be conveyed in both of those episodes for you guys is just an understanding of the depth of pain of our experiences, because that's what births the understanding of what all you guys are going through and what you will have to face as you go through the journey. So we're going to laugh and shoot the shit all the time in here and talk about really funny stories and have our guys on and be laughing about all sorts of shit in college football. This is it, dude. It's a good, bad, and the ugly here. But with Mitch especially, just somebody who loves, somebody who cares, somebody who's been through all of that and still has such a deep love for you guys that he's out here serving you guys to the extent that he is. And ultimately, that's the purpose that's been born in both of our lives together. So, Mitch, do you have anything else that you would say, to finish this thing out? I think you did a pretty damn good job, dude. I think we had a lot of fun, and I'm kind of ready to get out of the deep shit and start having some fun, light conversations about college football.
Oh, man, there we go. I'm horrible at technology, so I'm trying to set up my setup got a little screwed up here, but we'll keep rolling.
All right, dude. I kind of like the darkness here. Go for it.
Yeah, just one light, but yeah, This is going to be an authentic place, man. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows, the bullshit, the fun. This is going to be an awesome ride. And yes, these 2 episodes were deep, but just because we wanted you guys to connect with us and we wanted to kind of explain just who we are. You know, we didn't want to come on here and just be another podcast. We want you guys to understand that we felt everything you felt. We've been through it all, and that's what makes us different. You know, we've felt all the pain that you have felt and that you're going to feel. And we want to be an outlet, a resource of comfort, a resource of answers, and a place where you can just laugh when you've gone through the same shit we go through. Because we're going to laugh about all the bullshit we go through. Because there's so much shit that we've gone through that you just think about, you're like, dude, what the hell was that? And these stories will come up and you'll hear it from so many people. And man, that's why you play football, dude. It's just the memories you make and the laughs you can share and the frustrations you can share. And this is going to be an awesome ride. And sorry to get emo and deep these first 2 days, but it's only up from here. College football is great. We're not trying to get you. Nobody's going to play after this. But yeah, fuck that, dude. I'm not playing college football. College football, the best 4 years of my life. I would do it over again in a heartbeat. The same story, everything. I'd go through it all over again. It was awesome. So I hope you guys understand that we actually are happy people.
I mean, you guys are going to feel the juice from here on out. That's for sure. But again, I think what Mitch said is so important. It's like you now have a very deep look into me and my purpose and to why I'm here. You have a very deep look into Mitch, his purpose and why he's here. Separated by a decade, the college football coach, the college football quarterback, and yet that guy's a coach and I'm a quarterback still to this day. So again, guys, like to finish these things, you know, big thing for us is community. A big thing is you guys reaching out to us. So, you know, subscribing, liking, commenting what you thought of this idiot while you listen to him tell his story, you know, like any questions that you have, or even things like there are things that I do. And I think it's really, really powerful is like, there's some faith-based accounts like on socials that I go to and I'll click the comments and I'll just read through the comments and read a bunch of people like that are going through similar things. And I think that that's very powerful. So it's like, even if you just want to drop a little story of something that's similar to something that Mitch has been through, like in the comments, it's like, you have no idea how much that helps the next guy. Yeah. Like realize like this is what everybody goes through. And that's why some of the names we bring on here, dude, I'm going to bring on some high school quarterback that you guys don't even freaking know about, that doesn't have any college scholarships, but it's one of the most beautiful lights I've ever seen. And he's going to talk about his perspective. And then we're going to talk to the big dogs too. And the guys who are up there that are making the money, that are doing the things. And so you guys are just going to get a really, really good idea of top to bottom all the way through. And so sorry for the emo shit between me and Mitch in the first 2. But I promise you the lightness now just gets to be here. And if you ever want to go see about our darkness or try to question us on any of this shit, you can go lay in the emo for a couple hours. All right. Mitch, anything else?
Man, we're here to serve you guys. This is why we do it. We love to help others, and that's why we're here. So please use us as resources, man. This is why we do it. We want to be a light for everybody. So bringing the truth and helping everybody get through it all.
What do you say, dude? I'm out. I got dinner to make. Let's go do this.
Yeah, I'm going to bed.